What up, Raffleaders? Welcome back to my channel. We are back at Kingston Seawall here in Georgetown, Guyana. It's a Wednesday morning in Guyana. It's about 7 in the morning. This is the Seawall Bandstand, and behind it, the kiosks, the food stalls, the new food stalls at the Esplanade, the Kingston Esplanade. So I'm back in this neck of the woods because I wanted to see the expansion of the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. That's the new hotel. Pegasus was built here in the last 5 years or so, and we're heading in that direction now. All the Guyana flags are up, of course, because elections season recently completed and all the celebrations in the aftermath, the new bridge and all that stuff. This is the Esplanade, Kingston Seawall Esplanade, the sign put up by the government of Guyana. And of course, all of the flags, the decorations, also put up by the government of Guyana. That's the heart, the concrete heart. And of course, that's the One Guyana monument written in concrete on the side of the seawall. And that's looking east. Now, what we want to do is, I just want to show you what's happening here. They've actually put up a new, this is a large monitor, a large screen that is actually showing live video of the cameras, the traffic cameras along the seawall. Don't know if you can see any of it on the screen right now, but these are camera feeds from various cameras along the esplanade and the seawall. So that's now part of the decorations here. And of course, as I was coming along here, more and more of the seawall is covered with mangroves. So this is a description of the types of mangroves and the reason for the mangrove project. So unfortunately, the result of that is that more and more of the coast is no longer visible from the sea, and more of the sea is no longer visible from the coast, as I'm about to demonstrate. So it's after sunrise, heading out to the edge of the water. And I guess, I don't know if you can see clearly, but in the distance, that's the coast. And more of the coast is now covered with these mangroves. And of course, that's out on the Atlantic Ocean. These vessels are plying the route between the oil rigs and the shore base here in Georgetown. So what has happened since the last time we were here? Well, there's a little bit of beautification. They've planted some more of these coconut trees. And the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center was planning an expansion to build another tower, another 12-story tower identical to this one, and to build it next door. And so we were coming back here in about a month, maybe more than a month since the last time we were here, to see what has happened since the last time we took a look at the progress on that hotel. It's a new 12-story hotel but it's going to be exactly identical to the current 12 story. So this is a 12-story hotel, and next to it is the convention center and the dining and so on. But they're planning to build another 12-story hotel next door. And I thought I'd come by again today to see how far they've come with that hotel. It's bird season. These are birds, shorebirds, that hatch at this time twice a year, spring and I think now in the fall. And then if you come out here on some spring mornings or some autumn mornings and find tiny birds learning to fly. Like you can see, they're just hatchlings, a day or two old, learning to fly on the shore, and some of them getting left behind. So those are a little older, and I think maybe most of them have learned to fly already. But yeah, this is what is happening out here on the Kingston Esplanade. Now this is the current Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. And I'm going to try and show you what they have managed to do next door. The last time I was here, not very much had been done. In other words, they hadn't really begun to build the foundation for the new hotel, but they had started to clear the land, clear the ground. So there we can see that space, right? The space between these two buildings is where that hotel is going to go. And for now, there's equipment out there. Maybe they're still putting in the foundation. But that's what's happening. This is the sandbox here at the edge of the seawall. Okay, so this is what is happening at the work site. So you can see these guys are drilling, probably drilling holes to these posts. We'll see if in fact they've done anything beyond. That's the new Benab that they refurbished. Morning. Just checking this out. So these guys are now putting in the foundation, probably drilling holes for what will become the foundation of this new hotel. It seems like a rather small footprint, but the tall building, see this 12-story building, probably has exactly the same footprint. Although it looks massive, the footprint may be just the same as this one here. So what we're seeing is foundation being laid here at the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. Right, these guys are working on the foundation, drilling holes, probably putting in the foot. What is different here is I remember the foundation for the Pegasus Suites was actually really, really deep. So I don't know if they're working on a pre-existing foundation that they don't need to dig down. It was like a 1 story down. It's at least like 12 to 15 feet, a hole about 12 to 15 feet deep. And that's where they were laying the foundation. So here, I think, and of course, that's where they drilled the piles and then they laid the foundation slab on top of that, like 15 to 20 feet deep in the ground. So I don't know what they're doing here, if they're going to be building the same kind of foundation or if that foundation already exists and they're simply building on top of it, right? Because that used to be part of the hotel, the old Pegasus Hotel. That's the old Pegasus Hotel. I don't know if eventually they're going to tear that one down and also build on its footprint a new hotel. But I remember when they added that extension, this was an extension. In the beginning, the hotel was just this cylindrical building, and now it's probably 5 times as large or more, 10 times as large, and still growing with this new building that they're putting up. But yeah, guys, this is what is happening out here. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you is what's happening at this artificial beach, Marriott Beach, I call it. They put up a lot of these cameras. All right, let me show you what's going on here. So all along this beach, they've put up these cameras, not only along the beach, but along most of the main roads in Georgetown. They've put up these cameras, and of course, these are street lights. But all along the Esplanade here, they have these cameras out, and the feed, the monitor that I showed you in the beginning, is in fact showing the feed from some of these cameras, so you can watch. And it's right below that monitor is the police outpost. So all of this is, of course, in aid of security to make the beach safer. There was a time when, 20 years ago, you couldn't be out here after dark because it was really scary dark, as well as very unsafe. People could rob you and stuff. But now they have a lot more of these cameras, right? They have a lot more lights, street lights. That is the Marriott Hotel. All right, the Marriott Hotel has not been sold. It was put up for sale. They couldn't find a buyer to pay what they were asking. He wanted 85 million US dollars for it. And I think there was an offer for 85 million, but the person who made the offer did not live very long afterwards. Here is what has happened to this artificial Marriott Beach. So remember what they did when they first built this hotel is they had to clear this land and deposit sand, white sand, from the hilly sand and clay belt region to build this beach. And recently, I think the last time I was here about a month ago, they were building what seems now to be some kind of road path that I'm walking on, a strip of compact rocks that allow vehicles to drive out here onto the beach, because this has become a parking lot and a venue for hosting events. So whenever there's a venue in the neighborhood, such as a conference or a concert in the parking lot of the Marriott, this would become a parking lot. So I suppose that's why they built some rocky surface here on this beach, so that vehicles could drive out here and park. But also it's a venue for outdoor concerts. So they'd normally put fencing up, temporary fencing up, and hold concerts out here, or even fetes, dances. So this is what has happened out here since the last time we were in this neck of the woods. They've actually put some kind of road on the beach. Now, according to the laws of Guyana, the beachfront is public property. So even though the hotels occupy the land close to the beach itself remains public property, unlike Jamaica and some of the Caribbean islands where they're private beach. I remember the first time I encountered this in Long Island. I was just wandering along the North Shore and realized that there were fences that you couldn't, that prevented you from getting access, or gates in some cases, prevented you from accessing the beach on Long Island. And it was the strangest thing because I had never encountered it before, having moved from Guyana to Long Island back in the 90s. And then it became a topic in the Caribbean where countries like Jamaica and St. Lucia and Grenada have a problem accessing the beachfront because private hotels have taken up the beachfront and put up barriers to local residents so that you can no longer access the beachfront. That is not a problem in Guyana, at least not yet. And the 2 or 3 main beaches here, 63 Beach here at Kingston and probably Shell Beach, still remain public beaches in Guyana that allow you to come from anywhere and go right up to the water's edge without having to cross barriers or fences. So that's one of the things that is still, commendable for Guyana. Also, the last time I was here, a year ago, they were still building this rock barrier, and now it's been completed and backfilled with sand. I remember this time when you couldn't really get this close to this rock barrier, so they've actually backfilled it now so you can come all the way up to this barrier, see the fences basically, and it's actually working to preserve the beach. One of the problems we still haven't solved, of course, is garbage and putting litter on the beach. That is something that has to be changed culturally. No, cultural transformation has to take place to get people to take pride in their surroundings. But this is the mouth of the Demerara River. You can see there are a few vessels on the river. Right, there are a few vessels, some coming in, some going out to sea. And of course, in the distance, that's the artificial island. That is the shore base for a lot of the oil and gas operations here at the Demerara River. So this is what is happening, guys. This is the Kingston Beach on a, Wednesday morning here in Guyana. That's the Marriott Hotel, Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center. The space between the buildings is still vacant because, of course, they're still working on putting up that new building. But when they do put that building up, it's going to be a twin to the current Pegasus Suites. And here, of course, on the jetty, they've added some seats for people to come out here and enjoy the Atlantic Ocean. But that's it, guys. That's what's up in this neck of the woods. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later! And that's what's happening. Now, way in the distance, you can see, so if you can see it here, we're way in the distance. That's the Pasha Global 5-star Hotel along the coast. And of course, that is the coast. I did actually pass the work site for the new Hilton Hotel. Somebody's asking me for an update on the Hilton Hotel. It has not yet been approved, so no construction is visible on the grounds there. And so we're going to wait for work to start on Hilton Hotel before I bring you an update on it. But this is what's happening here at Kingston. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later! That's a barge coming in with stones, rock chip from a quarry somewhere in the Essequibo. And all that rock chip, chipped rock, is probably going to build roads and buildings in the city. Now that is the west coast. In the distance, way in the distance, that's the west coast of Demerara. And eventually, if you go far enough, you get to Essequibo. You cross into Essequibo at Barica. That's a police outpost here. That's it, guys. Later.